On a quiet early morning in South Korea, a truck driver is stopped at a security checkpoint where officials are inspecting vehicles because of a strange incident nearby. The driver is told everything is under control, but as he drives away, he accidentally hits something on the road. When he gets out to check, he sees a dead deer lying on the ground. Thinking nothing of it, he leaves. But seconds later, the deer suddenly twitches and slowly stands up again with a disturbing, unnatural movement. Something is very wrong. Meanwhile, in the city, a fund manager named Seok Woo is living a busy and stressful life. Because of his demanding job, he has only one wish. She wants to visit her mother who lives in Busan. Feeling guilty about constantly disappointing her, Seok Woo finally agrees to take her there by train. Early the next morning, the two of them arrive at the station and board a high-speed train heading to Busan. Around them, the train is filled with different passengers. Businessmen, elderly travelers, a baseball team, and a tough-looking man traveling with his pregnant wife. At first, everything seems completely normal, just another routine train ride across the country, but slip inside the train unnoticed. The train begins moving, leaving the station behind as passengers settle into their seats, unaware that the terrified woman hiding inside the train is about to turn this ordinary journey into a nightmare. Because only moments after the train starts speeding toward Busan, the infected woman collapses inside one of the train cars. And what happens next will turn this train into the most dangerous place in the country. Inside the moving train to Busan, the injured woman who sneaked in earlier begins to collapse in one of the train cars. A train attendant quickly rushes toward her, trying to help. At first, it looks like the side passengers push and run through the train cars, desperately trying to find safety. Within minutes, several cars of the train are on this speeding train are about to realize a horrifying truth. There is nowhere to escape. As the panic spreads through the speeding train and train to Busan, passengers begin running desperately from one train car to another, trying to escape the infected. The creatures move incredibly fast, attacking anyone they see, and every bite turns another passenger into one of them within seconds. Seok Woo quickly pulls, and now escaping this nightmare has become even more impossible. Realizing the station is completely overrun, the survivors sprint back toward the train in Train to Busan. As the infected someone rushes inside just seconds before the train begins moving again, narrowly escaping another wave of infected. Back on the train, the remaining survivors regroup and try to understand their situation. Some passengers are trapped in different train cars that are already filled with infected creatures. Among those separated are Seok Woo's daughter Suyeon, Sung Hwa's pregnant wife, and several other survivors. Seok Woo, Sung Hwa, and a few others realize they can't just abandon them. They decide to fight their way through the infected train cars to reach them. Armed with whatever they can find, baseball bats, shields, and makeshift weapons, the manage to slip past several infected groups without being noticed. However, when they reach the next car, the plan quickly turns into a brutal fight. The infected swarm toward them from every direction, forcing the group into a desperate battle. Sanghua fights fiercely, using his strength to push back the attacking creatures while the others try to move forward. After a terrifying struggle, they finally manage to reach the car where the trapped survivors are hiding. For a brief moment, it feels like they've succeeded. But unfortunately, the nightmare inside this train is far from over. After fighting through several infected train cars and train to Busan, Seok Woo, Sanghua, and the others finally reach the compartment where the trapped survivors are hiding. Passengers who manage to stay alive by locking themselves inside. Relieved to see them safe, the group quickly gathers together and begins moving back toward the safer train cars. However, the journey back is even more dangerous because the infected are now spreading throughout the train faster than ever. Using teamwork and quick thinking, they manage to push through another group of infected and finally reach a train car where several other survivors are hiding behind a barricaded door. At first, it seems like they will finally be allowed inside, but when the passengers inside see them approaching, they panic. Afraid that someone in the group might already be infected, they refuse to open the door. No matter how much the survivors beg for help, the people inside refuse to let. Survival is becoming more painful with every passing moment. And as the train survivors is growing smaller and smaller. After Sanghua's heartbreaking sacrifice in Train to Busan, the remaining survivors finally reach another train car where they think they might be safe. But instead of welcoming them, the passengers inside react with fear and suspicion. A selfish businessman named Yon Suk quickly convinces the others that Seok Woo and his group might already be infected. Even though they risk their lives to survive, the frightened passengers refuse to trust them. They are safe before the infected take over completely. But just as they reach the front section of the train, the railway ahead is completely blocked by wrecked trains and debris. If the train doesn't stop in time, it will crash directly into the wreckage. And with infected creatures closing in from behind, the survivors are now facing their most dangerous moment yet. As the train races toward the blocked railway and train to Busan, the conductor tries desperately to slow it down before it crashes into the wreckage ahead. The survivors quickly jump off the train just in time, landing near a destroyed railway yard filled with overturned train cars and debris. For a moment, everything seems quiet. Seok Woo, his daughter Suwon, and some businessman Yon Suk, who was secretly bitten earlier, begins to transform. Before turning completely, he attacks Seok Woo and bites him. Seok Woo realizes that he is now infected and that he won't survive much longer. Knowing what will happen, he makes the most painful decision of his life. He slowly walks toward the edge of the moving train while remembering the happy moments he shared with his daughter when she was younger. With tears in his eyes, he chooses to sacrifice himself before the infection fully takes over. He jumps off the train, ensuring that his daughter and the pregnant woman can continue safely. Finally, Suwon and the pregnant woman. At first, the soldiers think they might be infected and prepare to shoot. But as Suwon walks forward while softly singing a song her father taught her, the soldiers realize they are survivors. The nightmare is finally over. And although the journey to Busan cost many lives, the courage, sacrifice, and humanity shown by the survivors will never be